Welcome to this episode of God, Family, and Guns. We are again with Maggie at Blue Steel Guns and Ammo in Raytown, Missouri. And we're talking about something that we've never really talked about before. And that is, if, heaven forbid, your gun is involved, you're in some sort of self-defense situation, there's a police report filed, they have to take that gun for evidence. Like, what's that process look like? Do you ever get your gun back? What sort of insurance should you have? Does insurance cover that sort of thing? Just really kind of interesting, something I haven't really thought of before, and so thought maybe you could share a little information on that.
On this side of the counter, we're not protected when we purchase firearms from individuals. If a gun has been used in a crime and someone has sold it to us and we don't know and it's on our shelf, the police come in with reports and seizure notices and they say, hey, you have this gun, we need it for evidence. That gun goes right off of our shelf. We lose the money that we have invested in it because now we can't sell it. But it's not out there on the streets. It goes into evidence. When it comes back, sometimes they do. It comes back usually defaced with case numbers and things on them. Such is the thing. That's just the way it goes. Now, some insurance will cover replacement of your firearms. It usually takes a special rider on your insurance. So that's something you may want to think about. If you have a good size collection, or even if you have one or two pieces in your collection, think about how much you paid for them. Think about whether or not they'll appreciate in value. That's an extra additional amount that needs to be covered on your insurance. You need to think about what sort of insurance you're going to carry on these and whether or not your insurance policy that you already have will cover the firearms. Please take incredibly good records. Every single one of these firearms has a serial number located on it somewhere that you can see. And if you can't see it, if it's etched into the gun and it's very hard to read, a little piece of chalk right over those numbers, wipe it off and it'll stay in the grooves. Get some great pictures. Back those files up somewhere. Keep copies of your receipts. You want to know where you purchased it from or who you purchased it from. Was it a gift? If so, who in your family gifted it to you? Take excellent records and keep them someplace safe. That way, if anything happens to your guns, you can prove that they are lawfully and legally yours and they'll make their way back to you as soon as whatever happens is done with them. If they're in if they're used as evidence, or if they are insured and taken for cleaning or whatever after a fire.
Well, I was going to say, you and I were chatting before we started, and you talked about, guns are in a gun safe. If your house, heaven forbid, catches fire, how protected are they?
Well, that's a really good question. We've done a lot of repair work on firearms for people that have flood damage, water damage, fire damage. From personal experience, I will tell you that a metal gun lasts a lot longer than a plastic gun does. Imagine putting both of these in an oven and cranking it up to the highest heat. Anything plastic starts to melt and warp and blister, and you may only be left with a few little metal pieces and nothing working.
So even if your gun safe says it's fire resistant, that doesn't mean it's not still going to get hot enough in there.
It's fire resistant. It's not fireproof.
Right.
It's not heat proof. It's still an oven. It's inside is still going to heat up, and whatever the contents are will start to feel the effects of that heat. Plastic melts in high temperatures. Metal doesn't.
It's not.
The most you'll have to do is maybe some restoration on the grips, and that's not really a bad thing or at all. I mean, if you've got plastic grips on a gun, those are pretty easy to replace. Some firearms have excellent replacement warranties.
That's what I was just going to ask you about.
There is a really cool company out there that I think is probably one of the first I have ever heard of to do this. The company is called Sky, SCCY, and they make a couple different 9mm guns, and they're starting to work on a 380. They make them small, they make them compact, they make them high capacity, and they give them a lifetime repair and replacement warranty.
Wow.
If in the terrible situation happens that you need to use this to defend yourself, your firearm is going to be taken for evidence by the police. That's just the way it is. You can't stop it from happening. You probably will get this back, especially if you can prove that you obtained it legally and lawfully. What Sky will do is you can send them a copy of that police report that says that your firearm is now in possession of the authorities for evidence, and they'll say, "Thanks for picking our gun. Thanks for choosing our company. We'd like to reward you by replacing your firearm so that you're not without a means to defend yourself."
Wow.
What color would you like? What model would you like? How quick can we get this out to you? That actually happened to a customer of ours, and they were only without a gun for about a week before Sky had a new one in their hands. It was pretty awesome.
So truly impressive customer service.
Absolutely above and beyond.
And have you seen that anywhere else, or is that really pretty unique?
That's, for the first I have heard, is unique to them, but I'm still new in this industry and I still have a lot to learn. I'm sure there are other companies that have replacement warranties that are that good, maybe better, but if there are, please have them come forward. I would really like to try out more of their guns. That would be really cool. The rest of it is just up to you as a firearm owner to make sure that your investments in your safety, your personal protection, or your monetary investments are covered in case of damage, theft, or whatever. So please,
just like you would with anything else of value in your life.
You value, your house, your car, your family, your life. You protect this stuff. You have insurance on it in case something happens to it. Your firearms are the same way. People don't think about it, but once you start to get more than 2 or 3 of them, you've got a tidy little sum of money tied up in these firearms. If anything would happen to them, wouldn't you like to have that covered?
Absolutely. Maggie, thank you so much. Great information as always. Hope you liked this video. If you did, please click like and subscribe. You can find a link to Blue Steel below on our video. Also, we are now on Facebook. Feel free to like us there. You can visit us online at www.godfamilyandguns.org. And if you want an additional way to support this channel, you can always consider becoming a patron, which we would greatly appreciate. There is a link below for that as well. Lastly, and most importantly, this channel is a ministry to us. We take requests for prayers, and so please don't ever hesitate to send that stuff in.